obviously unemployment has taken a huge turn in the last couple of weeks due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We've got Jackie Turner here with the Mississippi Department of Employment Security to talk a little bit about what's been going on for people who are filing for unemployment, or maybe people that just kind of are interested in how that's working with so many people being unable to work at this time. Jackie, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you taking the time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. So let's just start off. So far, since the pandemic has hit, can you talk to us about the numbers of increase on unemployment claims kind of since that March date of the pandemic kind of starting in Mississippi?
Yes, of course, we were experiencing a good economy. We were seeing about 1,000 or less claims per week, which meant our unemployment rates were lower. Our required workforce to take those number of claims was reduced. That's the way it works across the country. When unemployment is lower, we are a federally funded state agency from Department of Labor, and our funding is less in periods of economic boom. So that's what we were experiencing as we went into the pandemic. And then all of a sudden, thousands of Mississippians needed unemployment, and a lot of them for the first time ever that never thought they would need to be going through this system. So that's what hit us. And then so it climbed. I have those figures with me here, and the Department of Labor releases the claims figures on Thursday of every week for the week prior. So if anyone is interested in looking at those the claims numbers from Mississippi, they are published on the U.S. Department of Labor website every Thursday for the week prior. So in looking at those, it climbed from about 1,000, and then we saw 5,000 the next week, and then to 32,000. And I think the highest week of claims was right at just below 46,000. So if you take all those weeks where we saw the sharp increase up until now, it's well over 200 and something thousand claims.
Wow. That's a lot of people on seeking unemployment claims. There were some special modifications, some individuals that were unable to work that wouldn't have been able to claim unemployment under typical circumstances. Can you talk through what some of those adjustments looked like that were made to allow for some Mississippians to be able to get unemployment during this time?
Yes, I'd be glad to. Well, first of all, early on, Governor Reeves passed an executive order that waived the 1-week waiting period that we typically have in unemployment in Mississippi, and waived the work search requirements, because obviously it's difficult to search for work, or near impossible to search for work in the pandemic. So that was before the Congress passed the CARES Act. So that's where we started with the astronomical amount of claims that were coming through. But some of those workers who have lost their job didn't qualify for regular unemployment, the normal rules that we have for unemployment in Mississippi and across the country. So Congress passed the CARES Act, and in the CARES Act, it provided for unemployment insurance funding for workers that don't typically qualify for the regular unemployment insurance programs in their states. The gig economy workers, self-employed people, 1099 workers. And if those workers couldn't work because of, I think it's 10 or 11 COVID-related reasons, then they potentially are eligible for what we call pandemic unemployment assistance. So that has been one key program that has allowed workers across the state to begin seeing funding coming to them and aren't typically included in the unemployment insurance pool. So we had programming to do with all of that, and we were in the midst of a storm of the thousands of Mississippians needing us, implementing programs along the way, and there's extended unemployment program as well for someone who might have exhausted their unemployment benefits and now need to draw because of COVID-related reasons. So the Congress enacted, with the CARES Act, extended unemployment as well. So all those programs working together with regular unemployment, we had to program and get them going. And so it's been a big challenge.
Right. We're starting to see the economy begin to open up. a lot of people are being able to go back to work. And a question that's been posed to Governor Reeves is, some people are not going back to work. What do you say to that? What does that process look like for those people that are like, you know what, I've got my job back. I don't need unemployment. I'm going to do the right thing and go back to work because I'm able. I'm not someone that needs to stay home. How does that process look, and how important is that for people that are able to go back to work to do so?
Governor Reeves stated this in his press conference the other day, that people need to go back to work as they can when their companies open, because so that we can get our economy going, so that we can be gainfully employed. There's a concern that some may be drawing more through the different unemployment programs, and they might draw on their job, but it is unlawful. It is against the law to draw unemployment in any of these programs if you have a job to go back to. And that is something that we want to stress, that if someone refuses their job, and when a job has been offered to them, specifically the job they came out of, but there are other reasons as well, there will be investigations and lookbacks along the way. The employers have a responsibility to tell us when employees come back to work, and we have a mechanism for them to do that. And when there is a match between the person drawing unemployment and the employer telling us that they have brought those workers back to work, or someone refused a job, then a potential situation exists for an overpayment to a person, and then they'll owe it back with penalties and interest.
Oh, that was going to be my next question. What are the ramifications for that? Now, at this point, when does that federal pandemic assistance end?
The extra $600 for each of the programs in the CARES Act related to unemployment ends at the end of July.
Okay.
Regardless of the situation, it ends at the end of July.
Right.
I want to say also, for people drawing unemployment that aren't supposed to be because of whatever reasons, some of it's fraud related and some of it's non-fraud. Fraud related is subject to prosecution and what that means to Office of Inspector General, the Auditor's Office, or our officials that do that work. So we urge people to draw unemployment when you need it, but do not draw it if you're not entitled. Don't even try to draw it if you're not entitled to it, because it's unlawful, and we also need to get the economy jump started again.
Right. We've talked a little bit about the strain of this mass surge of individuals that needed to file unemployment claims. What has that done to the department? What changes have y'all made? I know you added quite a few people to answer phone calls and process claims. What are operations looking like right now as things start to begin to open, and hopefully we're in more of a decline of unemployment claims than we were a few weeks ago?
Well, it hit us like a ton of bricks that all of a sudden thousands of Mississippians at one time needed us. And there's no secret that our phone lines have been jammed with callers because, like I said, we were in a period of a good economy. So the call wait times on the call center lines here were very good for normal cases when someone called in, maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes or less for most callers. And then all of a sudden people can't get through to us. So we reacted to that, and we added call centers. We have a contract with the Horn Group, contract with the Scarlet Pearl. We are in negotiations with yet another call center as we speak, trying to meet the demand of the people. Our challenge is, if you have thousands of Mississippians needing you all at one time, and even if you continue to increase the number of customer service representatives answering those calls, it's still an uneven ratio. And then to add frustration to some people, particularly talking about where we think we're on the downhill curve of people filing for unemployment, we see the numbers decreasing. So their questions become more complicated. Mm-hmm. We have processed approximately 85 to 90% of COVID-related claims at this point. So that the 15 to 10% that are left have issues that are more complicated than a normal claim. So when they call a customer service representative, they want answers to their question. And UI, unemployment insurance, is a complex program. So the customer service representatives are doing the best they can, but some of them simply can't answer the more detailed questions that a person has. So those questions have to go to a group of people that are experts in the unemployment insurance program.
Right. Do y'all have, you said that before this hit, we were in a time where we weren't drawing as much federal assistance because we had a low number of unemployment claims. With what has been given in the CARES Act, et cetera, do you anticipate having to ask legislature to appropriate more funds for MDES coming into FY 2021? Is that an anticipation at all? Are there any conversations that y'all have had, or is that still something that we're hoping not to do?
Well, we have had conversations with both the Senate and the House in the last few days on just that. The CARES Act funding that the state has control over, we are anticipating that we will ask for some funding to help replenish our trust fund and maybe some administrative funding that's not covered by administrative funding that is already coming to us from U.S. Department of Labor. That's the challenge is, yes, we will need funding and that funding to be appropriated by the Mississippi legislature. We do have already some unemployment insurance administrative funding that has been sent to us by the feds. We figured that it won't be enough, and we will have to ask the legislature for additional funding in the new year.
Right. For anybody out there that is still trying to file an unemployment claim, or maybe, their business unfortunately has had to shut down because of the closures, what's the best way to do that? What would you tell them in making an attempt to file that claim?
Well, filing claim still is the traditional ways of the best way to file a claim is online. If someone has that ability to file online, that is the best way, and you can do it at your own leisure. Please read the instructions before you begin. That has been some challenge with people as they may start to complete their claim, whether online or paper claim, and they don't have their documents and things in place, and it will time out if you have some. So we've had experience with those issues, but filing online is the best way to file. If you are one of those people that has filed some weeks ago and you are still waiting, we have regrouped and reassessed our priorities for the last couple of weeks. We've had to adjust along the way from taking claims to now we have to get these people paid that have been needing us to get them paid for a few weeks now. Right. So we have readjusted. We have 7 key initiatives to get that done, and we have 7 teams of people that are working on all those issues. So we've already made great progress in the last few days on those. So I think that they will begin to see those things clear out within a couple of weeks. I still think that we still have the phone lines that are full most of the time, or if not all the time. So sending an email to your local WIN Job Center or calling your local WIN Job Center on the phone lines that their phone numbers provided on the www.mds.ms.gov website can at least get someone to call you back and let them look at your claim for you and tell you the status of it. Realizing that some of them do not have the level of expertise to help clear it, but they can at least help a person know where it stands. Right. So we still suggest those as the best method right now.
Right. Jackie Turner, Executive Director for MDES. Thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking to us a little bit about what's been going on with unemployment. One of the biggest things that has been hit, obviously, during the coronavirus pandemic. We appreciate your time. And if you want to find out more about what's been happening with the pandemic and what the legislature plans to do, you can go to our website at www.y'allpolitics.com. I'm Sarah Ulmer, and thanks for joining us today.